Welcome to Commentary Time. Here at Permanently Geek, every week we like to do an audio commentary on a film that we love, a film we love to hate, or a film we hate to love. Basically what we do is we make fun of a movie, we watch it, we talk about trivia, we point out things, we analyze it, what have you, while you at home listen along and hopefully enjoy what we have to say. I am your host, Randy. Sitting next to me is
Shauna
and
Alex.
And the film we're going to do today is very near and dear to all of our hearts, except for maybe Alex.
No.
But it's a very, very important day because today is the day Marty McFly traveled to October 21st, 2015. And that's today, the day that this commentary is going up. Technically, we're recording this prior to that, so it is still not the day. But one day it will be the day. Yeah, so and the day this commentary happens, that's the day that will be the day.
Yeah, we're recording this October 21st, 1980 something or another.
Yeah. We're recording this in the 80s.
Movie.
We're recording, even though the movie isn't out yet,
yeah.
We're recording it. The movie we will be watching is Back to the Future Part 2. Which is actually probably my it's not, I don't think it's the best one, but I think it is my personal favorite. So we'll be talking about that a little bit. Well, not a little bit. We're going to be talking about that for 2 hours and 10 minutes or however long the movie is. We're going to talk about that for a little bit, and then we're not going to talk about the movie at all. Fuck the movie. We're not going to talk about it. But we have the Blu-ray popped in. It is queued up to 11 seconds, 11.06 seconds. The Universal logo and MCA company is up. And in just a moment, we're going to press play. And we will be watching the movie. If you've got the Blu-ray at home and you want to follow along, great. If you don't have the movie and you just want to listen to this in the car or in the shower or wherever, I mean, I don't know where you're listening. No judgments. You could be listening to this down home on the farm. I have no idea what's going on in your life. So however you want to listen to it is great. If you have the DVD, if you have it on VHS and you want to just queue it up, that's crazy, but you can do it. So here we go. In 3, 2, 1, we're going to be doing this. All right? You want to count this down? You be 3, I'll be 2, you be 1, okay?
All right.
Got it.
All right.
3,
2,
1.
We're playing. Universal logo is spinning.
It's a lot of dust.
There's a lot of dust. Well, this is space. Back to the Future 2, ladies and gentlemen. I have it. I probably don't have subtitles on here yet, so we'll get those on for you guys. I know this movie pretty much by heart, but you guys might not.
No.
I don't know this movie at all. So.
You know this movie at all. All right. Well, this is the best way to watch movies without sound. Saturday, October 26th. That's in a few more days. And for all of you fans who follow us on Permanently Geek, on October 26th, we're going to be putting out a very special bonus episode of Play It, Smash It, where we'll be playing Back to the Future on the Nintendo Entertainment System. How about a ride, mister? That's Michael J. Fox. He went on to do absolutely nothing, which is just a shame. Like, he just never starred in another thing after this. Just disappeared into obscurity. No, Michael J. Fox is probably one of my all-time favorite actors, actually. I love him. He's just great. He's really personifies that person that you'd be friends with this person. Maybe you wouldn't. I don't know. What do you think, Alex?
I don't have any friends.
Explosive crashing. Tire screeching. We're watching this with subtitles on, so every once in a while there's going to be your usual dose of stuff.
Is he wearing an Oculus Rift?
He is, yes. Heading back to the future. So this is all of this has actually had to be reshot because the actress who played Jennifer in the first movie did not return for the sequel, and so they literally had to reshoot all of this footage, shot for shot, from the first movie because this is how the first movie ends, which is kind of crazy.
So she is obviously the romantic interest from the first movie.
Yeah, she was his romantic interest in the first movie, and she was replaced. The actress. There is a story behind that. I'm not exactly sure what it is offhand. That might be one I'd have to look up, but I'm not going to be able to get up to 88 miles an hour.
So I always feel bad for like legitimate DeLorean enthusiasts who just don't like the movie, because it's ruined the car for them.
Or it's made the car super
hard to
buy,
yeah.
probably. There aren't that many of them left,
There's
from what I understand. it was kind of a limited edition car to begin with, and then because of the doors and everything, it's a neat car.
Well, the company went out of business.
Yeah.
And, like, John DeLorean got, like, arrested for being a drug smuggler or something.
Oh my God, I didn't know this backstory.
Yeah.
Oh shit!
Like, here's a huge backstory to the DeLorean car. And I don't know all the details, and I'm afraid that if I say something that's, like, slightly not quite right, it's going to be, like, angry comment cascade.
Well, yeah, probably, yeah.
But, yeah, he got, like... He was so desperate to get this car company off the ground that he ended up, like, doing something like smuggling drugs or something. And, like, got charged, and it was a big deal. And he got the charges acquitted, but it was, like...
Wow.
Yeah, it was a crazy...
Holy hell. Well, we hope you're doing all right, Mr. DeLorean creator. What was his name again?
John DeLorean.
John DeLorean. Well, you have a cool last name, and you probably get paid every time this movie plays. Hopefully. Alan Silvestri did the score for this film. It's absolutely terrific score. It's probably one of the most memorable scores that exists in, at least of 80s cinema. But I'd say it's up there. It's one of those unmistakable themes. It's a weird thing. When I was a kid, I used to think Steven Spielberg actually directed this movie instead of just producing it. I didn't really. I wasn't really this was like pre being into film, so it was kind of I didn't really realize it was Rob Zemeckis. I don't think I really realized it was Rob Zemeckis until I was a little bit older.
So did Steven Spielberg just attach his name to it, or did he actually have
his company produce this
So
film?
are these other flying DeLoreans that they're trying to avoid right now?
This is just flying cars in the year 2015.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, we're in the year 2015, and October 21st. That's today. The year 2015 doesn't look anything like this, and yet weirdly does all at the same time.
All the important pieces we've got right.
We don't have flying cars yet, though we do have self-driving cars that are making an appearance, at least in terms of Google and things like that. And I suspect in another 10 years, self-driving cars is going to be a standard. It's kind of incredible when you look at cars, like the innovations that have happened in our timeline alone. You've got cruise control coming in, you've got gas electric hybrids, electric cars, and that's all in a span of our lifetime.
I'm just not sure why they're choosing to fly through the storm right now, because normally when you're flying in a plane, you go above the clouds.
Yeah, it seems like a real bad idea. It seems like this vehicle
maybe
couldn't handle.
It just couldn't go very high.
Yeah.
This plane.
Yeah, it probably can't. I suspect they're pretty much just above houses. And this is also I've seen people compare them to drones, that these sort of end up being kind of like drones, flying cars. Instead of flying cars, it's drones.
So there's houses right underneath there. Would that decrease the property value if they build a skyway?
I would think so.
Suck because it's just floating beacon phone things.
Car
if you get
crashes.
An accident, it just rains down car parts.
Yeah,
on
or
your
a
house.
car just comes flying through your house, and you're just oh shit. Probably not the most thought out. We'll probably get to flying cars at some point. Maybe not in our life, but I think we will get there. Maybe I don't know. There's a lot that goes into flying, and people can barely drive cars as it is. I can't
another
imagine.
Dimension. That'll be great. You can't use a blinker, but I'm sure that an airplane is totally fine.
Air traffic control would be absolutely horrible.
What is Jennifer doing right now? She's just taking a nap.
They knocked her out because she was freaking out, so he kind of knocked her out.
That's nice.
Yeah. So Alex, I hear a rumor that you are not the world's biggest fan of this movie.
I don't like the Back to the Future movies.
That's why we have them here on the commentaries.
Because they're kind of dumb. And I understand that that's an endearing thing, but they're kind of dumb.
They're kind of genuine kids films in a way. They're kind of they grow. You can grow up with them, but they're pretty harmless for kids, and like I think they're sort of fun to watch. Like when I was a kid, they were awesome to watch. And I still like, I watch the third one I don't really like that much, but 1 and 2 I absolutely love, and at least once a year, if not twice a year, I'll watch both of them, usually back to back. 2015, ladies and gentlemen, this is what we got. This is probably, I mean, we do actually have, our iPhone will do that exact same thing where it will zero in on
and
people
I've got
with that
shirts
same
with
frame.
this one sleeve that's too long. So
Power laces. Nike did actually develop power lace shoes, which is pretty rad. They're very expensive, but that's kind of a neat concept. They're very, very 80s high top, though. Like, they've got that late 80s. I do wish this jacket existed. No one has gotten around to actually building this jacket that, like, can do all kinds of crazy things. They're over here in the corner, there was laser discs, like all these smashed compacted laser discs, which is actually fairly accurate in that laser discs aren't a thing anymore. And so you might see compacted laser discs. It'd probably be more like DVDs. Although there's this weird regression going on in culture right now where I'm like, I go to Walmart and I see that like they're like getting rid of all of their Blu-rays and pretty much just selling DVDs.
Really?
I'm like, what is going on? Why are we just selling DVDs? That doesn't make sense. There's a bunch of MCA movies there. That's pretty funny. I wonder what they are.
Like, I don't even have a Blu-ray player.
You don't?
No.
You need to
I'm waiting for HD DVD to catch on.
Yeah.
I'm still
holding out
betting on
that
it.
hope.
Yeah.
You never know. HD DVD will make a comeback.
Come on, Toshiba.
The hipsters will get into it. They'll be like, no, they're the cheapest and the best quality. That was a format I just like. I knew it was gonna fail like almost immediately, and it was frustrating for like the year and a half that it was around, and everybody was like, it turned into like Republicans versus Democrats, and it didn't help that like one was blue and one was red. Like they might have just called it like Elephant Ray and Donkey Ray just to like really bring out the. Really bring out the temper of it.
You can, compared to DVD, you can really see the picture quality change with Donkey Ray. Like it's like night and day. I mean,
yeah. No, it really is.
You couldn't even tell the difference, with the DVD when he pulled off that rubber mask thing, and here it's clear.
Yeah.
The before and the after.
Sometimes I put in a DVD and I'm like, I'll watch. Like the other day, I was like, for some inexplicable reason, I decided I would watch the Fantastic Four movie from like the early 2000s with like Jessica Alba and Chris Evans, and I have the extended cut, which is a better cut of the film, but it's only available on DVD. And I'm like, I want to put that in. It's probably not going to look that much because I don't watch DVDs that much anymore. I mostly watch Blu-rays or Netflix, and generally you've got HD quality things. And I pop this Fantastic Four DVD in, and it starts playing, and I'm like, oh my god, it's like somebody punched me in the face really hard. I could barely see.
Like a caveman. This is how the Neanderthals watch their Fantastic Four movies.
That's one of those where I like watching movies in their best, the way they were intended to be seen in their best quality. I think it's important. Some people get really, oh my god, this is so ridiculous.
I love that they have like the street like in the sky, and then but you still have the street on the ground too.
Yeah.
Just if you're old school, you can
Hipsters.
still drive on the road if you want to, but you can also drive in the sky.
They predicted hipsters. Look at this. This is all just hipsters walking around. Marty McFly is basically wearing like I've seen high schoolers walking around now with that. For all of you who are in high school who are like, I'm fuck you, I don't do that. We never did get around to Jaws 19. We got to Jaws 4 in 1987, and they finally gave up. In Hollow Max, which is an interesting concept. Max was named after, I think, Max Spielberg, who is listed as being the director, who is, I think, Steven Spielberg's kid. But we do have IMAX, so instead of HoloMax, plus we also have things like the HoloLens for Microsoft that's hitting like this year, which is an amazing concept. I don't know if you've seen HoloLens, but it's just phenomenal.
It looks really cool.
It looks so cool. Like, it blew my mind when I'm like, holy shit, this is neat. Like, we always kind of envision stuff being like that thing, that hologram screen there. but it's, you know, it actually looks a little bit different.
I like that there's antique stuff, and it's like a joke that it's antiques, but it's actually antiques now.
Yeah, it's actually
So it's
legit.
like-
You could go to Big Fun in Cleveland and see that Roger Rabbit thing.
Yeah.
And they probably sell it for like $30. Big Fun in Cleveland is an awesome store up here in the Cleveland area. We're all from Ohio, and you know, you can buy all kinds of, you know, it basically
There's one
actually looks like Cafe 80s
There's
when you
one in
walk in.
Columbus too.
Oh, is there really?
Yeah.
Yeah, Big Fun's amazing. Michael Jackson, rest in peace. There he is. His little cameo in this. It might be his voice. I think it actually is his voice. Max Headroom was apparently going to be a thing. Little Ronald Reagan, rest in peace.
Feels like Pee Wee's Herman's house.
It does feel like Pee Wee Herman's house. This whole, like, the 2015 universe was like that. They said in one of the documentaries, oh my god, this is like nostalgia city. They said, like, when they made this, they knew they weren't going to get it right, so they just said fuck it, and they just made the wackiest world they could think of. It is shocking the things they get right. We're gonna have over in the corner is Elijah Wood. He's playing one of the games. We'll get to see his little cameo here coming up. He's a little baby playing the Nintendo game Wild Gunman, and they're randomly gone now.
Wait, yeah, they were.
Randomly
And
gone.
It flashes back and they disappear.
They're gone. They were
The
there,
thing
and then
is,
they're
like,
gone.
Off. Like it's
Yeah,
not
it's
even
not
on
even
anymore.
on anymore. Holy shit, that's funny. I love little continuity errors like that. I'm not really great at catching continuity errors, but this set was probably a trip to walk through. And this is probably the most, like, distinctly sort of, like, it seems like they picked crap from the 80s they knew wasn't really going to work, and then they just threw it in this cafe. I mean, this movie was made, I think, in 1989, 1990, so, like, it's fresh. Like, the 80s are right there. So this is somebody in the 80s trying to figure out what would be, like, well-known in the 80s. Like, what would be considered sort of cool or interesting or, you know, what have you. Hello, anybody
I
home?
wonder where you get a fist cane like that.
eBay.
Really?
Etsy.
Really?
You probably buy one on Etsy. Yeah.
So I used to have a roommate who found a cane with a dagger handle in it. Like you could unscrew it.
I almost bought one on eBay years
He
ago.
found it in the library.
That's
And-
awesome.
Yeah.
That's completely
So
bad.
he brought it back to the apartment. He put it in his box of swords. It's kind of a weird roommate.
What are these shoes in the corner? Oh, here we go. Wild Gunman. There's Elijah Wood, little baby Elijah Wood right there.
Look at that.
He's adorable. Wild Gunman. I actually never played this game. You have to use your hands like a baby's toy. So these kids are Microsoft Xbox One users. I love in the world, like, Michael J. Fox plays, like, every character. Like, apparently his kids all look exactly like him. His, like, relatives in the past look exactly like
Very
him.
dominant genes.
Yeah.
Those Fox genes.
Those Fox
They
genes.
fight their way to the top.
Those J. Fox.
J Fox.
So many cool little visual effects in this movie. The production design is really quite fantastic. This is what I love about it. It's just so over the top and kind of sort of goofy, and it spends so much time and attention trying to
Bullet
kind of just be.
necklaces have become a thing.
Yeah?
You know? That's legit.
Michael, who's on Play It Smash It, he has a bullet necklace.
You don't
Maybe
quite
he's
look
from the
like that.
future.
Michael?
Yeah.
He might be. I don't know. We'll have to ask him one of these days. He's not gonna tell us. About a year and a half ago, I wrote on my phone this idea that I'm gonna if their time travel ever becomes a thing, I'm gonna write a note in my phone, and if I'm gonna set it like if at any point in the future time travel is invented and I have the capability of traveling back in time, I picked a certain day about like a week from that moment. At like 5:30 on October 29th, 2013, Dana, my wife, will walk to the back porch and see if I'm standing there. And it was about a week of like, we wrote this thing out, and then for about a week we kind of were joking about it, and then like it came to be the day, and we got really nervous. Like, we were nervous. I'm like, oh my God, what if, like, you go back...
leave cookies and milk out for him.
Like I'm Santa Claus in the future.
That's what Santa Claus is. He's just some guy trying to get home, hoping his next leap will bring him back to where he came.
So, like, you know, I wasn't going to be back there because I didn't want... you know, because of this movie where, like, you can see yourself and, like, you either get knocked out or... literally the entire world could collapse simply by seeing somebody. So Dana opted to go back there, and you know, we went to dinner, and it was like right after dinner we came back. We made sure we were there on time, and like I stayed in the front and Dana went back there, and like I remember when, you know, I waited for a minute and she waited for a minute, and then she came forward. She's like, no one's there. Oh. But like she described saying like how she was genuinely nervous that like when she got back there that like I was gonna, because like how terrifying would that be?
With like the face paint symbols like they have on all the future movies.
I'm like, what's up,
You've
Dana?
got robot legs and you can shoot lasers out your earlobes.
But here's the funny part is that note on my phone got deleted, and so I need to redo it again because the note got deleted. It got deleted by accident. I had like a issue with my notes on my iPhone where it was like deleting notes, and that's one of the notes it deleted. Mattel hoverboard. They're spending like millions of dollars to make a hoverboard. It's like, guys, it's not that cool. Like. It makes no sense. It's going to be really expensive to put together. It looks cool on film, but...
the thing where they, like, pedal with their feet, like, doesn't even make sense.
No.
Like, why they would do that.
How it works, there's, like, no logic to how it works, like, at all. But it
like,
looks cool.
Pedal nothing.
I remember when I was a kid, I used to try to convince people that these were real and that they weren't visual effects. And I think and people would believe it, too, because I was like, oh, yeah, that's... Because it, like, seems like it could be.
Well, if you say anything with authority, it sounds
because they're
like...
so believable in like how they work in here. Like you can't see the wires on him, so like it generally I think looks pretty good. And the boards look kind of real. Like the boards have like sort of an interesting sort of texture to them, except for Griff, his board, I think, is the most fake looking one. Like when he finally pulls it out, I love like it makes like a growling noise every time it like comes out. God, he's the guy who plays Griff and Biff is absolutely hilarious and is a really cool guy. I don't know if you ever watched Freaks and Geeks, but he was the gym teacher on Freaks and Geeks, and he's just amazing. And I'm completely escaping on what his name is, and I'm gonna look him up so I can actually say his name.
Shoes, look at that.
Didn't get those in 2015. Well, Rihanna or like one of those probably got it. Like one of the like pop stars. Like Kesha probably has shoes like that. Thomas Wilson plays Biff and Griff, and he plays Buford Tannen in the
All
Back
of that
to the Future 3.
just to go over the pond.
Yeah.
Look at that.
Wow. He caused some serious damage there.
But
if hoverboards don't work on water, why is it still hovering? That's my...
Well, he got that far in the pond and it just stopped.
Like, what's
It's
the
like
logic
kayaking
here?
down a kayak and then down a river.
Kayaking down a kayak.
Yeah.
Wait, how does kayaking down a kayak work? Do you make a really big kayak and then you get in a kayak?
Get a pair of kayaks.
Kayaking down a river and you're floating over the river at the same time.
Yeah, so like the river is taking you and suddenly you hit the lake and it sucks. It's no fun anymore. I think the same thing happened here.
Oh my god. I got a Pitbull now. Pitbull. He's around. He's a famous musician, 2015. My sister is a massive fan of Pitbull to an embarrassing degree. If she's listening to this commentary right now, she's probably covering her face and is just like, "Oh my god, I can't believe you just added that." Or she's like really proud of it because she posted on
That just
Facebook.
earned you another picture.
I know. My sister texts me pictures of Pitbull, and then I have a little bub app where like you can add little bub like the internet cat. You can add like pictures, and so every time she sends me a Pitbull, I send her I little bub him, and then I send it back to my sister. What? Gray's Sports Almanac. That never came out. That magazine doesn't exist. Well, there's probably magazines like it that do actually exist. It's a little piece from the 80s. The Dustbuster. There's a whole line about like dust repellent paper, which is really funny because I mean there is dust repellent paper now. It's called Kindle Fire and iPad. Like, it's just not paper. Pepsi Perfect. I'm surprised Pepsi never put out a Pepsi Perfect because that would be actually a really good like marketing campaign.
Like the logo they have there is actually better than the current Pepsi logo.
That is actually a really sweet logo. It's very 80s. Like it feels like I'm at Epcot Center, but. You know, it has everything around about this is very Epcot-y. If you've ever been to Epcot Center, and that looks like an Insight, like the original Honda Insight. Yeah, this movie, the 2015 segment is a blast of this movie. Just particularly now that they got some things right, they got some things wrong. Well, they got a lot wrong, but
You're mostly right, though. I mean.
There's stuff that's correct. There's stuff that's, got it. There's stuff that has its moments. They saved the day. Hoverboard rampage destroys courthouse.
Indistinct yelling.
USA Today. So we have drones taking pictures. So that's actually, well, we don't have drones taking pictures, but we definitely have drones, and we definitely have like phones that look like iPhones that are similar to that. So,
of course, it wouldn't be USA Today; it'd be like BuzzFeed.
Well, I think it's USA Today Hill Valley. Like USA Today is now putting out local editions of newspapers. USA Today, small town America. Maybe in this world, in this universe, like the journalist sort of, the sort of journalist. I don't know. Empire has collapsed already, and USA Today is all that remains. I had a bunch of micro machines from this movie, and actually the taxi cab in the background we just saw that passed by is one of the ones I had. I loved the micro machines of this set. If I can find a picture of them online, I'll post that here so you can see some of the micro machines. I think they were micro machines. What's wrong with making a few bucks on the side? I worked with a guy who actually looked a lot like Marty McFly. It was really kind of trippy. He hated whenever anybody would point it out, too. He'd be like, I don't look like him. Hate you. Like, okay. Age 47. We do have good facelifts now in the year 2015. Yeah, people like Demi Moore, who's like 50 and looks like she's 18. It does happen.
The miracle of science.
Miracle of genetics and God knows what else.
Oh, is that the girl they brought from the past?
They knocked her out and then for some random
just left her in an alley.
Dumped her in an alley because that always turns out well.
Well, I mean, that's what we do here in 2015. That's
You have a character that just gets in the way. You just drop him off somewhere for a bit.
Dump it in an alley.
Doc, what do you mean? I love this. So simply pass out. Or the greatest disaster mankind has ever known, the very fabric of space time. Like, it's hilarious. And it's like, it's one or the other, This is really good, like, visual effects work. I mean, this is obviously not CG. It doesn't look perfect, but it does look cool.
Yeah.
I kind of really like how it looks visually. I think it's kind of neat. The matting is kind of cool. Uh-oh. Gonna have some problems. He didn't recycle. That's very un-2015 of him. Maybe that is recycling. I don't know.
Wires, yeah.
Like Surf Vietnam. That's the which is a fun reference to Apocalypse Now. If you've ever watched Apocalypse Now, they do surfing in it. Hilldale. See, this would annoy the shit out of me. Cars like not quite flying high enough, just hovering over your house like gently. Oh, that'd be so annoying.
Like running out of gas would be a big deal in a hover car.
Yeah.
You know, like way
like if
bigger
you were
than
on
it is
E,
now.
like Michael again, play it, smash it, and fellow commenter. Sometimes Michael and I used to both play the game of the gasoline game, where we'd be on E and see how long we can go, and he'd come over and I'd be like, how are you on gas? He's like, I'm on E, and I was like, how you doing? He's like, well, I'm winning. and then one day, one fateful night at 2 a.m, I get a phone call, and I'm like, what's up, Michael? And he's like, I lost. I'm like, you need help? You need me to like pick you up or something? And I think somebody like came and helped him, but it was really funny.
The closest
we're literally watching this movie on a screen that is like that, but works way better than this.
Yeah.
That helped her know that she was in the future, even though it was just a projection screen. But we do have projectors. We're watching this movie on a 1080p 3D projector.
It's got a nice flicker to the
Yeah,
screen. Also, it lets you know that it's technology.
Lets you know that it's technology. If you ever notice, folks at home, if you ever watch a movie and there's technology in it, they will always make you know it's technology by making like weird scratches or flips or some sort of flicker. Oh, no one wanted to see Michael J. Fox dressed as a woman.
Is that Michael J. Fox?
Michael J. Fox, and then her voice has been modified. Now Crispin Glover, who starred in the first one, did not return to play himself here. They recast him, which was a bit of a shame. That's why they have him hanging upside down here, is to kind of like mask that it wasn't Crispin Glover. And Crispin Glover, I believe, sued over either likeness rights or something, because they do include footage of Crispin Glover in the movie, and I think he won that lawsuit. And like now you need to get likeness rights from actors. You can't just like use their likeness in a movie and a sequel. So
Is there a lot of actors who didn't want to come back for the second one?
Crispin Glover is a fascinating figure in that he kind of he's like the original hipster. Like everything about it was a bit hipstery, and so like he kind of, I think at this time it just wasn't a priority for him. He kind of was interested in doing other things and challenging himself, and so he didn't return for the sequel. He thought he was a little more of the star. He kind of thought he was the star of the first movie and kind of wanted to headline the sequel. And ultimately, I think the movie really, if there's one criticism I have of the movie, it is that it sorely lacks Crispin Glover, because he is really funny in the first movie, and his chemistry with Michael J. Fox really comes to life. You really do feel like they're father and son. And I love the idea of just like being able to go back in time and like see your dad, like in an age that your dad would never tell you how he acted. Like my dad's never gonna like tell, like he'll tell me some stories, but they're always like filtered stories that like my dad is okay telling me this story because it's not embarrassing or what have you. And to go back and be able to, like the first movie, Marty McFly's dad is like a pervert. So like he's like looking at girls through like a that's not a moment you want to see your dad, but it's a nice humanizing moment that lets you kind of capture the essence of that person, which is kind of cool.
Well, it's a good thing every child alive today will not be able to hide their past via every
My
video.
sister's son has from the very first day he was born, he's had a Facebook account. So his entire life is chronicled on Facebook.
Like, their parents asking questions about little Tommy's shitting all over the place.
Yeah.
He's eating it. What should I do? The guy's running for like governor at some point.
Yeah.
And that's his permanent.
Well, I think at some point that's pretty indicative. At some point we're gonna have to drop our judgment of people's failures in the past. Their frailties are going to have to be given up, because there's going to be no one's perfect. This we don't really. We have picture in picture, but we don't really have like the ability to watch like 6 or 7 channels at the same time. Like, I guess we can in that like we could put multiple YouTube videos up or stuff like that. But Michael J. Fox doesn't really look like this at all. He still pretty much looks the same. Like for the most part, just a little bit older. If you're a fan of, they're still playing up the Vietnam thing. If you're a fan of Michael J. Fox, be sure to, donate a few bucks to the Michael J. Fox Foundation and help out Parkinson's. This was around the era where he first discovered Parkinson's. He was suffering from Parkinson's, and it's a real tragedy.
Really, that long ago?
It was, yeah. Doc Hollywood was the first movie where he started noticing like shaking and stuff. So, if you're passionate or you care about it, be sure to throw a few bucks. Every time we go to a Comic-Con, we buy some stuff where like it goes to charity. I'm actually wearing a Back to the Future shirt right now, and the shirt I got was, it was like 50% of it went to the Michael J. Fox Foundation. He's done a lot of good for Parkinson's research. He's become a bit of an ambassador for Parkinson's research and has done a really great job, actually. That's true. Pizza Hut does have no water in its pizza. It's about as dry as that. The Black & Decker hydrator. Now, hydrators don't really work, but we do have... we've got microwaves. We have dehydrators. We have dehydrators. How is it not hot? You can just pull it right out.
It only heats the pizza.
That does not look like an appetizing pizza at all. It looks
it's
so
like
terrible.
Rigid. It's not a pizza. It's a cheese and sauce and pepperoni disc.
I've always felt that particularly since when I watched Dexter season 8, there was the Boondock Saints guy whose name is escaping me. I'm gonna look it up real quick so I can get his name correctly. Sean Patrick Flannery, who's in season 8 of Dexter, he's like dressed just like Marty McFly, like old Marty McFly. I'll maybe put a picture up so you can take a look. It's really funny how similar he looks to this character. We do have TVs that are that big and flat like that. That did become a thing. And Skype. This is basically Skype right now.
I didn't even notice
Flea.
the TV.
Did you notice that's Flea from
is it?
Red Hot Chili Peppers? Yeah. He also appears in the first movie and the third one.
I didn't even notice that the TV was flat because it's so like, of course the TV's flat. Until you mentioned that, I was like, this is probably this like far out ridiculous concept that they had.
Were still huge boxes.
Well, you see, they put it in a picture frame because they thought it would be like framed like a picture, which we kind of do, but it's not. It doesn't look like a picture frame. And like the faxing here is like, which was something that was still in the 80s, but like I think they envisioned a world where like faxing was a much more prominent thing, which it is, and then now it's email or texting, so
people
it just
still
doesn't
fax
print
stuff.
out. People do still fax. Oh my god, it's ridiculous when I have to fax something.
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't know how to fax anymore. Yeah, I think they had this idea that what is that device? We don't have that device. We do have, however, Square readers, which you can pay for things, and that's way smaller. That's literally like the size of a quarter.
AT&T.
AT&T is around. McFly! Greeting in Japanese. What the subtitle just said. That's awesome. You are terminated! What did he get terminated for? He just gave money to something. Food it gives you all the stuff, which is actually fairly accurate in that, like, you could put that on MySpace or on Twitter or any, you can put that stuff.
You're fired.
You're fired. It's like the first meme right there.
Yeah.
The "you're fired" meme.
It
Prints out everywhere because faxes are like a thing everywhere.
Because we don't have text messages in the future. We just have fax machines.
Yeah.
We have little devices that print out sheets of paper.
We just waste
Notes
paper
to each
profusely. It literally printed it on every single thing, so like we just wasted like 7 pieces of paper.
For the one note.
That would be hilarious. I'm gonna make a dot matrix text message printer. They have to carry around. It's like winky face. Okay.
The double tie did not become a thing this year, which I actually think would have been an interesting kind of concept. Because, like, business suits have, like, they've changed, but, like, it's been really, really, like, micro changes over the past, like, 30, 40 years. Like, that we go from the single or the double button to the triple button and then back to the double button, or, like, stuff like that changes. I love this. I'm old, I'm young. I want to GIF that. Just them, like, popping and falling. Really funny. Now this, he's gonna come out and he's gonna be in a lot of pain, and that's something that goes completely unexplained in the movie, only in the deleted scenes. Or if you watch this like on I think ABC when it first premiered on TV, you get a sense of what actually happened. Like he's hurting and he's in a lot of pain. You can't really understand why. The reason why is that he has altered the past, and he's returned to this era just before everything changes. And he is literally like his body is like eviscerating itself, and he will disappear. I think they felt it was too much foreshadowing to what was about to happen, and so you don't exactly know why he's in pain, which kind of bums me out because it's a weird. I remember when I was a kid, I was confused as fuck as to what was going on. Like why? I'm just like, is he dying? I don't even know.
It doesn't really make sense. It just showed him driving away in
And
the
then,
car, and then he comes back.
And then he's just dead. Like he's just like groaning and in a lot of pain, and women. Here we go. We got
Knocked her back out.
she passed out.
Oh yeah, that's right, because she saw herself. That's what they were hoping for.
Yeah. I don't see why he needs to get to 88 miles an hour now that he's flying.
I mean, the cars weren't 88 miles an hour was still fast for the flying cars, so they must still be going 65.
Yeah. I bet air traffic control was like, what the hell is on our radar? Like, what is that? Like, there's probably air traffic controllers who are calling in an unidentified flying object right now because, I mean, the 1989, I think, was the year this film came out. It's not exactly like that technology was gone. I mean, that technology fully existed. This movie, this series, Robert Zemeckis has like a no remake clause on this. Like he says, as long as he's alive, there will not be a remake to this film.
We must murder Zemeckis to reboot the series.
It's a film that I feel like you could remake it, but I just feel like it would be one of those pointless remakes. It just like you can't capture it in any kind of like decent sense. It would be neat to see like maybe a continuation with Doc Brown, with his kids or something, like him with his kids, and like they're gallivanting around the future, and like I think that could be fun. But the series comes to a close, and it's one of those where like I feel like it comes to a nice sort of clean conclusion at the end of Back to the Future 3. You don't really need anything else. And if you want anything else, there's the ride, which I think the Back to the Future, the ride at Universal Studios, which I think is now closed, but the ride is, I think you can like watch the ride on the Blu-ray, like they have all the footage and stuff, so you can kind of get a sense for what it looked like. So, but with Michael J. Fox, and Parkinson's and everything, like I just feel like it would be something that just it would be offensive to kind of redo it, and you're not going to get any love for it. But I'm sure with Jurassic World being a big hit, Universal's like, let's do that with Back to the Future. This is like screaming rape. Like, oh my god. This would be so terrifying because you have no idea what's going on. I'd be like, oh my god, this is like the most terrifying situation. That guy's terrible at hitting. Like, it's not like it's be hard to hit him.
I'm gonna tear your ass up.
Tell that real Dakota, I ain't selling. I thought it was I ain't stealing. I ain't selling. This is a nightmare future here. A nightmare in 1985. I was a kid. This really, like, genuinely terrified me.
The wild dogs.
Just the wild dog. No, just like the idea of like one wrong move could like dramatically alter the course of history, and like you see that. I mean, you see it in like history. You look at history, like one person doesn't sign a treaty, and the next thing you know, there's like a massive issue, or what have you. So
as a child, you were afraid of the consequences of time travel, but yet, as an adult, you still played around with time travel.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, now I love
this. It's just asking for trouble.
Yeah. Maybe I went back in time and deleted the note, so I'd forget about it.
No, he can never do it.
I have a friend who's obsessed with time travel, and he every time he sees his favorite photographer who posts new pictures like every couple of years, he looks for himself in the pictures. Because he's like, if I'm going to time travel, that's how I'm going to do it. I'm gonna go back and try to be in one of the photographs and see if I can. But like, I have no idea what I'm going to look like 50 years from now. So like, I would I even recognize myself?
Wear a memorable hat.
Yeah. I could be Mr. Strickland for all I know. I have no idea what I'm going to look like.
Handlebar mustache.
Yeah,
that's how you know someone's from the future.
I'll just always wear a top hat. Starting in 2016, I'm going to always wear a top hat.
A cane with a fist.
A cane. I'll order a cane with a fist on Etsy. This is crazy. They're just shooting at him. Like, what the hell world is this? They were following the Empire Strikes Back template of, just telling a story that is a bit darker than the first story, a bit more like morose and like that he does the moonwalk. He moonwalked onto that, which is really awesome. Red. That's amazing. He was in the first movie. This is like, whenever they try to bring gambling, like when they brought gambling to Cleveland, this is like what people who were anti-gambling thought like was going to happen to Cleveland.
Yeah.
They're all like, it's going to be homeless people in the streets and chaos and people in motorbikes and just Back to the Future 2 is not like the way things are going to be, right? And like ever since Cleveland has gotten casinos, actually the town has gotten a lot more cleaned up. I don't know if there's as a result of the casinos, but definitely didn't hurt rather. You worship her, she worships you. I don't even know what that was. There's a sign in the background.
I think the whole toxic waste reclamation plant.
It's right there in the middle of the city. That's where we keep it.
They shot all
Waste.
They shot all this stuff last because they did the 1950s town first. And then I think they did the 2015 town first, and then like the 1955 town, and then they wrecked the 1955 town to build the 1985 town.
Did they film all these at the same time, or
they filmed Back to the Future 2 and 3 almost back to back?
Oh,
if not back to back, because there's literally a trailer for Back to the Future 3 at the end of Back to the Future 2. You should not put ice in your cup.
Sorry.
It's okay. It's a little ice in the cup. It's all right. He's a millionaire overnight, Biff Tannen. And he became Donald Trump. I really feel like that's kind of what they're mocking here is Donald Trump. Which is kind of an interesting, like, he owns a casino and he just sort of like this sort of creepy ride. He even has the Donald Trump hair.
Enterprise.
So in a way, again, the 2015 prediction that like Donald, like that a sort of Donald Trump-esque sort of Biff Tannen is this figure. We got it. He is running for president of the free world in 2015. It's like all these. He realized his lifelong romantic dream and married a girl who doesn't even like him. He does, right? He looks like. I mean, obviously it's 1985, but.
Yeah, you're right. In 1985, everyone looked like Donald Trump. Like,
yeah.
He just hasn't changed. Like,
he's Billy Zane.
Consistent.
He's been rocking the same hairstyle.
Little Billy Zane right there, the bad guy from Titanic. Have you ever seen Titanic? Billy Zane and Zoolander, classic role.
He is the bad guy from Titanic?
No, he was the Kate Winslet's like husband or soon-to-be husband. I didn't know Helena Bonham Carter is in this movie. She kind of has that like Helena Bonham Carter presentation. We won't see her face again. I like the parallels to this to the first movie, and I feel like when George Lucas made the prequel trilogy, he borrowed a lot of like how this movie draws parallels. But I mean, truth of the matter is like this movie's funny because it draws parallels. That doesn't work in prequels. But we get into that in our Star Wars commentaries coming at the end of this month and throughout November and December. You'll see, folks, internet land. Why is he staring at his mom's boobs?
Really,
like, stop staring at your mom's
why?
boobs. Like,
It's like way too long.
like he stared at her. He stared at her plastic boobs for like forever. They like look really plasticky too. They don't look real at all.
Well, those are future boobs.
Space boobs.
Well, this is supposed to be 1985. He is in an alternate 1985.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Maybe that's one of the many industries of Bifco.
Well, her like boob, like almost like her fake boob, her fake nipple, almost passed out of the screen there for a second. Yeah, watch yourself. This is a pretty. I like the design of this. It's really cool looking, except for the slot machines. They're super dopey. But... Originally, from what I understand, and you can either confirm or deny this, folks, in the comments. But from what I understand, the original idea when Crispin Glover was going to be involved was that once again it would be sort of him and his father going on this adventure, rather than like kind of the way where sort of Marty's just sort of flying solo. So he gets to this world and like I think he meets his like dad, and like him and his dad go back to 1955, and he gets to see the same events of the first movie, and like his dad gets to see them, and it was going to be more of a father-son adventure. Which would have been, because that would have continued that trend of the first movie of just a father and son going on an adventure together and sort of learning about each other. But these fake rubber boobs. I'm like
painting like that.
Ricardo Montalban in Star Trek II: The Wrath of Khan with this fake chest. Yeah, this is really crazy. Yeah, like the kids are randomly just not in this movie because like Marty had like a brother and sister who just aren't in this movie. But I don't know what the story is behind that. I am not like, I'm trying not to look at too much trivia and just sort of enjoying the movie and making fun of it and commenting and whatever. But I don't know a lot of trivia about this film. It's one of those movies that like I really love and have not really explored its production too in depth because while I really love it and like it, it's one of those I like the mystery of it. I like the magic of the hoverboards and really kind of not knowing how they did all those effects. Knowing it's wires and stuff, but just sort of playing around with the narrative. Now, Cleveland does have those spouts in the back with the fire. Like, you were driving to Cleveland,
but our
like
fire is blue.
Yeah, they are the most terrifying things. I feel like we're in Blade Runner world every time I drive to Cleveland.
I think they look cool.
They do. They look kind of cool.
Really
But
cool.
they're like particularly when I was little, they were like, that's a terrifying thing to see because you don't like your brain can't comprehend what you're seeing. You're just like, whoa, there's fire like all the way up. Wow.
Did you ever drive through Gary, Indiana?
Yeah.
It's like driving through
sisters.
the dystopian future from the Matrix. Like it's just like pipes and things everywhere.
Yeah.
Like, oh my god.
And the worst traffic I've ever been through.
like we went through it and they had all this like construction barriers and stuff up.
Which they always do. They're never.
Yeah, and I wanted them to take it down because like I want to see Gary, Indiana from the road, not like.
You don't want to experience Gary, Indiana as like you don't want to like stay there for a week or something.
The full
I'm on a vacation in Gary, Indiana.
That's what I'm gonna do.
Just outside of Gary, maybe an hour down the road is a hotel that we have every once in a while stopped at because it's the hotel from Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. Big fan of that movie. It's a good one.
That was born on April Fool's Day.
Well, that's probably a Crispin Glover joke. That he's born on April Fool's Day. It was pretty funny. It took what?
Oh, nothing. I was just gonna say this movie's getting deep.
It does. It gets a little heavy, like
It's not what I was expecting.
Now this is a very. Have you not seen this one?
No.
Okay. Yeah, this is a very
he died on the Ides of March.
This is a very kind of dark picture. It doesn't stay in this 1985 for very long, which is good because it is like kind of it's like a haunted house, like a. I mean, even look at it, like right here, it all looks like a haunted house. This is like walking through a haunted house. And I think the idea was to sort of create this sort of nightmare version of what the world is. And the response when this film came out was overwhelmingly negative.
Really?
You know, well, it was mixed, but like generally people didn't really like it because it kind of lacked the charm of the original film in its own way. But it also does something that, to my knowledge, prior to this film's release, no one had ever done, which is to go back to the events of the first movie and meticulously recreate all of them. And in doing so, you tell a different story using the same set pieces of the original film. That was something I never had seen before, and for me, like, I remember seeing it thinking like, this is awesome. Like, this is incredible. I've never seen a movie that did this before. And I thought it was really, really just kind of beautiful and cool and terrifying, and it was a ride. It lacks that sort of father-son love and sort of that kind of nostalgia and kind of spark maybe of the original film, but what it lacks in that department, it makes up for in like sheer originality. So much so that, you know, for all you Harry Potter fans out there, many, many years later, J.K. Rowling stole the plot convention, or rather paid homage to the plot convention in Harry Potter. And what's the third one? Prisoner of Azkaban. I'm like forgetting everything right now. We've had a long day of filming today, folks. So, Prisoner of Azkaban borrows the plot convention with the Time Turner, and they have the whole thing with Buckbeak, and they go back in time and fix all the issues, and basically J.K. Rowling crammed this whole subplot of Back to the Future 2 into the story. There's another movie called, I want to say it's Time Crimes. It's a Spanish film, I believe. Yes, Time Crimes. If you folks out there in internet land, I'm going to put up a picture of Time Crimes. If you haven't seen Time Crimes, see it. It's a phenomenal piece of science fiction. It's I believe a Spanish film, and it is just about the nightmare of time travel. Like, this guy gets stuck in a loop of his own, making, and just like it just goes from bad to worse to even worse in like, you know, a course of 20 minutes. It's really incredible.
Oh, it's a short film then.
No.
Oh.
And
it's a 20-minute film. Time travel sucks.
Yeah.
In Espanol.
It does it. It does it in such a simplistic way that like you're just sort of like, oh yeah, maybe I don't ever want to time travel, but it's a fascinating film if you get a chance to see it. It's actually, I was just looking it up on IMDb, and it is available on Amazon Prime if you have Amazon Prime. They were going to remake it for a while. The director of Dawn of the Planet of the Apes, I think, was going to direct it, and I don't know what happened. It must have fallen through. Never came to be.
Did you ever hear of John Titor?
Mm-mm.
He is a time traveler who came back to 2001 to post on the internet. Like,
All right.
Like, look it up, read it. It's amazing.
All right. Have you ever seen the movie they're watching here?
No.
Which is a famous Clint Eastwood movie. Once again, the title is I think it's A Fistful of Dollars. It's a great movie. It's a genuinely great movie.
Great friggin' flick.
That's fascinating. I have a long-standing theory about like alien beings. This is gonna get a little conspiracy theorist, but a long-standing theory about alien beings, that we see these alien beings. You know, these people talk about alien beings, and I have a theory that they're not alien at all. They're actually time travelers from like 2 million years in our future, where we have changed so dramatically. That's how they're able to, that's how they know we won't ever notice, because we will perceive them as aliens. We will not perceive them as human, despite the fact that they are humanoid. They disappear without a trace and do all sorts of crazy shit. You know, it's one of those like random conspiracy things where I just started to speculate, like, if they exist, okay, let's assume that these beings that people talk about actually exist. That is, to me, the most logical explanation. They're not aliens, because it doesn't make sense that aliens are that interested in us, but it makes a lot of sense that humanity is interested in its past. Maybe even trying to figure out what happened to make everything go wrong. We
I
probably
don't
just got a
know.
flood of comments where
Yeah,
you're like,
yeah,
no,
yeah.
no.
I just think
Hey,
it's
look, people, it's
interesting-
just an idea. It's not like gospel.
So speaketh
So
Randy.
speaketh Randy on October
21st
20 somethings. The day Marty
We
traveled.
can't even get
back-
linear time right. How we're never gonna get like time travel right. I don't know, I just think it's interesting. Like if aliens come to Earth and are like experimenting with people, that must mean there's like an alien National Science Foundation funding it, and then like alien like graduate students who have to do the probing and stuff, like they get the crap job, you know, like the whole
interns.
thing has to exist.
There's like
be
all this bureaucratic bullshit
Yeah.
you have to like hoops you have to jump through in order to like experiment on humans.
Yeah, there's an alien National Geographic with like pictures of us and our like
this-
guts hanging out, like fatness guts, not like organ guts, and
Yeah.
our flannels and stuff.
There's people like, you know, the grad students are like, they're like, all right, you're gonna do the rectal probe, and they're like, oh god damn it, and they're like having to fill out all those forms.
Better than teaching undergrads.
Okay, I like that theory as well. My future theory is a fun one. That's even more entertaining. Love that. I want some Biff's matches. God, he looks like Donald Trump in that painting. It's creepy. This is so creepy. Like he really sort of personifies this weird Donald Trumpiness. I'm imagining that Donald Trump is saying all of this dialogue. Just for all of you people in the future, Donald Trump was a presidential candidate that hopefully is not the leader of the free world by the time you listen to this. And if you're a Donald Trump supporter, you know, whatever. You can love Donald Trump if you want. It's okay. It kind of isn't, but it's... It's totally fine. No judgments if you're a fan. You know, people like what they like.
Yeah.
People like what they like.
I mean, in Australia they eat Vegemite, and that's kind of gross too.
Oh, Yeah,
so
yeah.
like,
That's a big thing in like Britain and like.
do you ever smell Vegemite?
Oh, it smells like.
Oh
It's
my!
Or like
Vegemite.
Marmite.
Yeah, that's
Marmite.
the British
That's the
version.
British version.
What is it?
It's a paste made of like, isn't it like
It's like the-
fish or something like
No,
that?
it's
Or
like after they brew something,
yeah,
it's the crap
it's
left
yeast.
in the tank.
It's yeast.
Yeah.
It's like a burnt yeast, and people use it like peanut butter or like it's a spread. It's and by the friends I have that are British will tell you it is an acquired taste.
I used to work with a guy who was Australian, and like as a joke, someone, I don't know how they got
Yeah.
it, brought it in, and so we're smelling it. It's like I couldn't even like fathom putting it in my mouth. It was
Yeah.
so gross smelling.
It's like the shit at the bottom of a
Yeah.
coffee pot after like, you know, like the work coffee pot, you know, like the work coffee
It's
pot
like-
has the grossest shit at the bottom of it. Thank God for Keurigs.
Yeah. But I'm sure there's like someone in Australia going like, "You eat pizza rolls, you hypocrite."
Pop-Tarts.
Yeah.
All I have to say is Pop-Tarts.
Pop-Tarts, yeah. I mean, the stuff we eat in America is certainly not. At some point on Whatnots, we're going to do an American food special where we eat weird American food. Because we're going to eat other like, you know, other sort of foods from different ethnicities and like, you know, just sample, you know, all the different kinds and like kind of the weird stuff. But, you know, there's stuff in America that like I look at it and I'm like, why the fuck? Like even hot dogs. Like, why the fuck did we
dogs.
eat those things?
Baloney.
Like, holy God. On Whatnots, on one of the episodes of Whatnots, it's either aired, I don't know, we shot it a while ago, but one of the episodes is where we try chicken bologna, and it's just one of the most disgusting things ever I've tried. One of the most disgusting things I've ever put in my mouth. That's a pretty badass shot, though, here of Marty McFly standing on top of the DeLorean. It's incredible.
Like, they would have had to like taken apart a DeLorean and like hoisted it around, right? To do that, like
It's probably just a body, you know, so the weight can withstand. It's probably on like steel cables, and the cables have been like deleted. So November 12th is another date. November 12th. I think he also goes to like November. I think it's November in 1885 when he goes back to November.
Probably why there's so much disagreement on Facebook. Because
There
they're
is.
just all over the place in this movie.
January
Like,
1.
January?
November 12th, yeah. Well, we'll see at the end which one it is. Yeah, I mean, and it's so easy to put those like numbers in too, like to digitally change them. There's a Tumblr that's called like "Today is the Day," and like every single day they just post it and like let people share it. My brother-in-law, who's like a huge Back to the Future fan, I think he posted it on my page one day, like one of the fake ones, and I'm like, dude, you're like a huge Back to the Future.
Like,
but I mean, I can't remember the date sometimes. I forget it. I always know it's in October.
That is embarrassing, though. Like getting caught, or falling the first time you realize Google does like practical jokes on like I fell for
that.
Yeah, like the
Fake
first
articles.
one was the like running getting internet through your toilet. I was like, oh man, that was so cool. That'd be
I hate when I
Damn it.
when I get really like I read a headline and before I even get a chance to read the article entirely, I just repost it. And then I go to read the article, and I'm like, God damn it, it's a fucking fake article. I hate fake articles. They didn't cover that in the 2015 world of Back to the Future 2.
The Onion.
There's going to be... Well, the Onion at least is obvious about it,
Yeah,
but
there's so many fake satire sites now where you have no idea.
you have no idea.
The whole thing.
Because it doesn't even read like satire. So that's a negative
fake
2015
news.
trend that I would definitely get rid of. So now we're in picturesque 1955, which I think when politicians talk about the picturesque 1955, they're thinking about this. Which this isn't even 1955. They admitted, I remember watching a documentary where they admitted they scaled 55 back to be more like 45, where it was a little more like wholesome. Because 55, when they started doing research, was a lot more tumultuous than like you think, because history has a way of kind of washing that kind of out. But 55 is a bit of a tumultuous time. There's a lot of you're getting the first like divorces are coming through. We're having a lot of post-traumatic stress for post. Oh, I love all the different money from the future.
That's cool.
You have different. You've got there's a lot of factors in play. Also, how did he get all that money? I love that he looks like Michael Jackson. He's got actually he looks like Corey Feldman now more than Michael Jackson. Corey Feldman always looks like Michael Jackson. If you're listening, Corey Feldman, keep it up. I love it. Why not? Whatever. Everybody makes fun of him. I'm just like, whatever. He's being himself. Whatever. It's funny. It's cool. I actually saw Corey Feldman in concert at Annabelle's in Akron, Ohio. It was one of the best concerts because he had a band at the time. Now he's got a new band, but he was at a band called the Truth Movement. And the Truth Movement was like this kind of Pink Floyd-y style band, and it was kind of fun watching him watching him sort of start, and like everybody's kind of making fun of it, and by the end everybody's kind of like they're still making fun of it, but they're all in on it. They're all just like, this is awesome. He started with like a robot puppet thing. That's how the show started, with like a robot puppet.
Was it like a serious thing or was it a joke?
No, it's serious. He's really big into he always kind of wanted to be a musician, so like now that he's sort of like, I don't want to say he's semi-retired, but he's just not acting like as much as maybe he used to. He's doing a lot more like reality stuff. Like he's now focusing on his music career. I can't say don't mean to offend him. I can't say that I like love the music, but I do think it is interesting. It's a bit odd, but I think it's kind of like, it's experimental.
Like Macaulay Culkin's band?
I didn't know.
Pizza Underground?
Really? I didn't even know that existed.
Yeah, they do pizza-themed cover songs, I think.
Wow.
Like, if I was, like, wealthy and just, like, didn't have to do anything, I would totally be doing stuff like that.
Well, and that you see a lot of artists, you see a lot of people doing that. You see all these bands sort of crop up. Michael Shannon, I'm a big fan of the actor Michael Shannon, and Michael Shannon has, like, a folk band in New York. There's the band, there's the one that Michael of Play It, Smash It and other commentaries has mentioned, the Jeff Goldblum band as well. There's so many like different styles of bands.
Like I wouldn't, I'm not saying I would like be in a band. I'm saying I would
Ryan
be
Gosling
like
had a band.
doing ridiculous things, but like to the degree that you can do when you're wealthy and have nothing better to do.
Ryan Gosling has a band where they sing about monsters. And it's awesome. It's actually good. If he came to concert, I'd go see it.
Really?
If you've ever seen The Conjuring, folks at home, there's actually a song from Ryan Gosling's band. I can't remember what the band is called offhand, but it is pretty sweet. I feel Zales. There's a little Zales in the background. Zales Jewelers. It's pretty sweet. That shirt is awesome. I want that shirt.
Biff's shirt or
Biff's
Lorraine's shirt?
No, I don't want Lorraine's shirt. Definitely Biff's shirt. God, he is so rapey with her. Like,
Yeah,
get a
the first thing that
restraining
he
order on
did,
him.
Like when he went up to her, was lift up her skirt. Like,
Yeah.
that's how you greet people in 1955, apparently.
Yeah, the Ryan Gosling band is Dead Man's Bones.
Dead Man's Bones.
It's good. If you haven't heard it, folks, you got Spotify or something, or you just want to pop on after you're done listening to this, pop on YouTube and look it up. It's good stuff. It's out there, but it's cool. This is one of those. I don't think this green screen quite works here, because it doesn't really seem like they're necessarily looking at each other. It does feel a little off. God, I love these cars though. I really wish we get back to making cars that look like this. Yeah, not particularly how we've got gas electric cars. Like you could probably build a gas electric engine in like anything. Like, you know, it'd be amazing.
I don't know why they can't design it this way.
They don't. Maybe it's a safety standards issue. Like maybe like. Because I can't imagine these cars were safe. Like I can't imagine. But conversely, I think they're really they're just beautiful. Like they're beautiful cars. I have this. We're gonna cover it on Whatnots one of these days. They have this 3D Blu-ray that compiles all these short films from the very, very first 3D movie from 1940 all the way to like about the 70s, 80s. And in the middle of it is this kind of incredible making of an automobile movie where they show you the complete production of an automobile, but it's done in like stop motion. So there's no people, so everything's coming together and stuff. But it like stuff comes out at the camera and then
That
comes
is
back.
cool.
It is so cool. It's like 15 minutes long, and I remember one day I just sat there. I'm just like in wonder, like watching it. I think I watched it like 3 times because it was just so cool, and it was fascinating seeing how they put a car together.
Like I love going on YouTube and like searching for factory tours and seeing like the Lotus factory and the like Rolls Royce factory. 'Cause it's like, wow, this is the Vic Firth drumstick factory. Like, I had no idea how in depth drumsticks were.
This is fascinating in that like so a lot of fans have wondered for many years like how many like sports statistics are in this book.
Not many.
Like 1950 to 2000 is 50 years of sports statistics.
It's just in like a few. It's like a comic book size.
It's like a 30-page notebook. Like it's maybe 100 pages, 120. Like at best, I don't think you could get 50 years worth of all sports. Like every sport.
Even if it's just listing them out, like not even. I just feel like
there's a little flaw as well in that I'm pretty sure if he kept winning like bets, after a while, 1, no one's going to take a bet from him, and 2, the IRS is going to look into how he is doing this because I mean, rigging. Obviously if you look at history, rigging events in order to earn money and betting has been a massive issue. We're going to find this sports almanac. At some point, the IRS is, they're going to send FBI or something in to investigate him and figure out.
I like how in the movie, in which time travel has occurred twice, and the future has been rewritten into this like utopian, like terrifying thing.
Yeah.
Like the tax implications of what he's doing is what's being discussed. It's like, well, yeah, if you get past that, but really, I mean, can you imagine what kind of
really
1040
bad
this guy's going to have to fill out?
Well, it's one of those. It's one of those things where, like, fans, you fall in love with the movie, and then you kind of, you explore what, you sort of explore the idiosyncrasies of a picture, and as a big movie fan, that's what you do. You watch a movie. I've probably seen this movie maybe 20 to 30 times, no doubt, if not more. I watched it. I probably watched it 10 times the year it came out, so I probably have seen it more than that. And I know people who've seen it even more than that. People watch it all the time. I think the pace on this movie is phenomenal. I think it's really moves quick. Like we're already almost into the final act of the movie, which is pretty rad. it's such a really quick, fun. I love that he still has all the tags on everything, which makes me think he stole all of it. At one point, I think he pops a tag off and throws it on the ground, which makes me feel like that either old Biff was going to discover it at some point. Yeah, like right here, he throws it on the ground. I have a feeling old Biff or something was going to like see that and pick it up and realize that they had gone back to the past.
Oh.
I feel like that was a scene that maybe got cut. Biff, I think, is a really, like, he's a ridiculous villain because he's, like, so villainous for no reason.
I was just going to say that. He's, like, he has no redeeming qualities whatsoever.
Motivation?
He's not, like, a psychopath because, like, a psychopath is somebody who's likable and, like, you know, is actually Donald Trump. Somebody who's, like, really likable, but you're, like, the more you dig into this guy, you're like, I don't think this guy's, like, really all there. Whereas...
Biff is just shitty.
Biff is just a shithead. Like, you hate him.
It's like...
there was this kid that I knew when I was growing up. I won't mention their name, but they used to, whenever they would hand out, like, you know, tests, you know, and you'd have like that one teacher who's like lazy and was like, everybody's gonna grade each other's papers. You'd hand it off to the, you know, you know, pass the test to your neighbor and they'll grade it. This person used to change answers to make them wrong.
Oh my god.
And when I think about Biff, I think that's what Biff is. Biff is that asshole, like that person who just like is so miserable in life they would change someone's answers so they get a worse grade. This is fun. This is a really fun little bit here. Him getting to meet himself. And the shooting of this, the way they had to, you know, one, they had to recreate all the costumes, they had to recreate the lighting, they had to recreate all the sets, they had to match it shot for shot. The amount of work and skill that went into this is absolutely just kind of beautiful. It's like really amazing what they did on this film to bring it to life. And you know, for someone like, you know, when we shot something earlier today and like, you know, we bumped a light and I'm like, oh crap, it's not gonna like match up. Like, and I'm trying to get it to match up. And now imagine making an entire film of that. You know, where 4 years later after making the first one, you make a sequel, which already there's a lot of anticipation to get it right, and you know, just trying to get all that to match up and look really cool is sort of a really rad thing that they did. This movie deserves more respect, I think. I think it's a masterpiece in its own way. I think it is just as good as the first movie in a different way. God, I love tires like that. Look at this.
I was just gonna say that, and I was like,
they're really beautiful. They're like awesome. I like the
Just don't make them like they used to.
The white wall, is that what they call them? White wall tires?
I was just going to say that, and I was like, no, everyone's going to be like, okay. And then we just move on, and I'm like, no response.
And then here I am, I just spit it out, because I'm like, oh, no, I'm really, I love, you know, the older I get, the more I admire, like, older things, like nostalgia-y, like, not my own nostalgia. I've kind of gotten over my own sort of nostalgia of things, but I'm really into, like, you know, what my parents would have nostalgia over and stuff like that. It's kind of interesting.
There's some cool old things.
Yeah. Well, stuff was made better. Like, everything was made better in that era. Like, now you buy... Like, I had a friend over yesterday who was telling me, you know... he had to buy a dishwasher, and he's like, I know that the shelf life on this dishwasher is, like, 5 years. You know, whereas, like, back in the day, like, we have a friend who has, like, a stove that he bought at an auction from, like, 1945, and it still works. Like, I remember going into his house and being like, does this stove still work? He's like, oh, yeah, I just fixed a few parts on the heating element, and it's good to go. And I'm like, are you kidding me? Holy shit, this thing's like triple my age. What the hell's going on? But, like, nowadays, you buy a stove, and you got maybe 4 or 5 years until it kicks the bucket, because everything's planned obsolescence now. And this is why we're wasting, you know, I'm getting really, like, political. This is why we're wasting technology. This is why we're wasting all the stuff.
Well, you said
this
at
was
the
a
beginning,
very
we're
old
only going to
person.
talk a little bit about, you know, Back to the Future 2, and then the rest is just politics.
The rest is, you know, Donald Trump rants and all this. We're dating this commentary in a really fun way.
Yeah.
Like, you'll be able to go back in 30 years from now, and you'll be able to look back on this guy and think, well, No one's gonna
Oh
listen
my
to this
god!
commentary
Can you
30
believe
years
they're
from now.
complaining they got 4 years out of their dishwashers? They're single use now. Just pop in a new dishwasher.
Pop it-
Possible.
You just throw it out. Or there's people in the future who the world will be decimated and they'll find this video online when they get the internet working again.
But like, I mean, other things. Yeah, I guess some dishwashers are cheap, but other things like to get one of these cars to go 100,000 miles would be a miracle.
Yeah.
And like, if I didn't get 200,000 miles on my car, I would be pissed.
No, cars are, I think, one of the few things where they're being built to be a little bit better. They're being built to be driven now. Like, I mean, you didn't expect the car to go 100,000 miles before because you didn't drive 100,000 miles.
Are we doing tire trivia? Because I would totally rocket some tire trivia.
Yes, I just got a text that'll let me know that carbon black was added to improve endurance because the white was it tires used to be white because they were made of pure rubber. Carbon black was added to improve endurance, which again goes with that notion that we drive more now. We drive more, and therefore cars are they aren't built to last 50,000 miles. Now they're built to last 250,000, 300,000.
Your tires, like you can even get tires that have a 50,000 mile warranty, like cheap economy tires.
Yeah,
like
they're guaranteed.
Crazy.
Guaranteed, and
like you can get like for like $200, you can get a set of tires that has a guarantee to go farther than most humans would ever travel in their life.
I'm
for
not
the
even
majority of like human civilization.
I'm not even like a massive like car nut or anything, but like I really love like the innovation of cars that has happened. And this is actually a really great film to show the innovation of cars because you see multiple generations of cars in this film. So, yeah, like recreating that and matting that in is a really neat idea of having them all, in there. And he's just what they did, the attention to detail here is just really, really awesome.
Can you imagine if they picked a different car, like not a DeLorean, like if it was like a Buick?
It was going to be a refrigerator originally.
Really? And like they would have
like
people
this
get
and
in the
that.
refrigerator,
in the first
kill children.
That's why they didn't do it, because they were afraid children would accidentally lock themselves inside of refrigerators trying to time travel and would die. And so the ultimate decision was to pick something that was a little exotic looking. Like they decided on a car and they decided on something exotic. And because the DeLorean had the doors that went up, they thought that was a really cool design for a time travel vehicle. And it definitely is. I mean, it works.
And I heard that they had picked that because it wasn't painted. It was just stainless steel everything.
Yeah, it looked... Yeah, but yeah, refrigerator was the original concept.
Like,
also,
this is
unrelated.
You can have children go to in time travel. A refrigerator that doesn't open from the inside. A garbage bag with a lake in the middle of the lake. Bag of used syringes.
You have to hang yourself from a beam.
An entire bottle of Tylenol PM. Oh my god.
Oh, I want to come up with even more of these. It's like shit. I love the bag over your head.
Put a grocery bag over
Dagger
your head.
straight into your heart. Yeah. Put yourself in a centrifuge. And
Food you're allergic to.
If you're allergic to peanuts, that'll help you time travel.
Coconut shellfish.
Just jump out of an airplane without any kind of safety. Just jump right out. You'll be fine. Why isn't the teacher looking at this and just being like, what the hell is this? Although he does kind of like, I guess he assumes that maybe it's a science fiction magazine or something. Well, we know it isn't what you think it is. We're about to have the reveal of what it actually is. It's a nudie magazine. He's stuffed in there. Ooh la la! Ooh la la! I want a copy of Ooh La La. If it even exists. I don't even know. Yeah, this is, I think, the scene in question with Crispin Glover in which they used, I think, a double for him, and he was really miffed. Yeah, I think nowadays you have to pay an actor in order to be able to use their likeness or to recreate a scene. This was unprecedented, though. Recreating a scene without the actor was not something that had happened really. normally, like, sometimes you'd switch an actor, and that I think that's fine because it's a character. But to recreate scenes that were specific to an actor's performance does seem like you're stealing from them.
Yeah, I could see it.
This is neat. He gets to watch his dad hit him again, which is kind of a fun and from a completely new perspective. I always loved when he spins around because he didn't actually get to see it the first time. He misses it, so like it's kind of cool that he got to see it. And again, if his dad were alive and they were going on this adventure together, I think this would be even like him and his father would be looking at this, and there'd probably be a great moment. He looks at his son and he's like, "You really helped me. Like, thank you." I think it would be really beautiful. And like since his dad's such a sci-fi nut, it kind of makes sense that that's where the story could have gone. And I feel bad that Crispin Glover didn't show up in it. I feel like Crispin Glover missed an opportunity to do something really cool. And really kind of meta, which is a very Crispin Glover-y thing. Like, Crispin Glover went on, like, David Letterman and, like, wasn't allowed to come back because he was too weird for David Letterman. He did come back many, many years later, but it's a bit of a urban myth, I think, that he wasn't completely... I think it was more of a... David Letterman likes to create the spectacle of that, of controversy that maybe didn't exist. He just took that guy's wallet. I always loved that guy's performance. I think he took that guy's wallet. There's like really like funny confidence to him.
We didn't move. Like, yeah, that guy took his wallet.
I'm not gonna chase after him.
What a jerk. We can agree he's a jerk.
Point it out.
Somebody should stop him.
It was Billy Zane again, and the 3D glasses guy. Love it.
Just down like dominoes.
Yeah. So funny. The movie does have like a cartoony humor to it. January 1, maybe on January 1st, we'll do a comment. Actually, we're going to be on a break during that time, but maybe we'll get around to Back to the Future 1 and 3. We chose part 2 simply because it was such a it's so centric to this date. When are you going to have the opportunity to do the commentary on the day he went to the future is kind of cool. It's really neat. Just watching it now, I'm like, I have a whole new, like, I love this movie like a little bit more every time I see it. This is a movie that I just think is like, is just awesome.
Gonna nail him.
The hell did he change his clothes so fast? I like he just gives them like blues riff and B, and they're like, okay, we got it. We're gonna all play exactly the same now. Like, I want to see a real version where he teaches them how to play this song, and it takes like weeks, like to learn the song, get all the beats right and everything. Like, you've been in a band. It's not. You can't just be like this and this, and you're like, all right, got it.
Well, we could do that. I'm not sure everyone else could.
Yeah. That's a cool tie he's got on there. A lot of cool outfits in this. I think we're gonna get I think he took his wallet scene again. This is, I think, the real
Calvin Klein.
I think
forgot about that.
Here we go. Yeah, I think he took it. Yeah, here we go. He's gonna look at the. I love it. I don't know. It's one of those like lines that like just sticks in your head. I know, like my favorite one is probably "Get him a body bag" from the Karate Kid. There's like
That's a good one.
Toward the end of the movie, there's like a guy who's like, "Get him a body bag, yeah!" And it's like, it's one of those like cult lines that like years later you find out like everyone caught that line and thought it was odd. I remember like in one of the documentaries for the Karate Kid, like Ralph Macchio, who plays like the Karate Kid, is like describing a scene, and he's like, it's the scene where like there's the guy in the background, like the "Get him a body bag" guy. Like, he's like, everybody knows this is like a weird line. I think he took that guy's wallet. This is another one of those because the guy's kind of goofy and just he says it like 3 times.
Like, were those scenes? Was that written, or was this guy like, I'm gonna earn my $60 or whatever?
He might have had just a really comic persona, and so like Robert Zemeckis might have made the decision to give him a line, or maybe he said it the first time, and they were like, "We love how you say
keep
that.
saying
We love that you
your
keep
line.
saying it, but you're not doing anything about it."
Just telling everyone around you, like, hey, think he took his
I
wallet.
think he took that guy's wallet. He took that guy's wallet. Yeah, they had to recreate this whole stage presence had to be redesigned entirely, and
Heavy metal riffs.
yeah, subtitles are a little weird there. This is such a cool little just to. I mean, I'd never seen this before. Like going back and like playing through a scene that and then at the same time having something secondary going on that you maybe didn't know happened in the first movie. It was a really cool idea. Why Marty never thinks that it's odd that there's a bunch of the guys passed out, like, because he's about to pass them and kind of have like a weird like look on his face, like what the hell is that all about? He doesn't like remember this
He's really
moment.
good at knocking down all three of these guys at the same time.
He just leaves them there too. He's like, whatever, I'll leave them there.
They'll get up
Steal
again
his
and then I'll
wallet.
knock them down.
I get knocked down, but I get up again. Remember that? Is that Chumbawamba or whatever?
Yeah.
Chumbawamba.
Chumbawamba. Yeah, that's what I could never remember because they had like.
So you know how every thrift store you go to, your theory with the VHSs,
Titanic?
any used record store has Chumbawamba Tub Thumping.
Yeah.
Like at least two of them.
Or like Green Day's Dookie. That was like another album that like everybody owned. I didn't even like Green Day at the I like Green Day like kind of now, but like back in the day I didn't really like because everybody like all the cool kids so to speak were all really into it, and so I was just like, but I still had that album.
Hipster.
Yeah,
Even back in the day.
It's too cool for me.
Yeah.
It's too trendy.
I got it as part of a when you could join like BMG and Columbia House. Remember those? I think I got it as a free album.
Columbia House, didn't they just file for
They
bankruptcy
just
like
closed
3 weeks ago?
Yeah, it was not that long ago. Yeah. Michael J. Fox is hilarious in this movie. Nobody calls me chicken. Ah! And he just knocked himself out, which is hilarious. So I was just to point out now, he's concussed for the rest of the film. he's in okay, so many well, like I don't know, 3-4 years ago I have this weird habit sometimes of just like, because I'm tall and like forward momentum, I don't know. But anyway, I walked into a door frame and I concussed myself.
Like an open door, you hit the frame?
Well, actually not the frame. It was the door itself. I opened the door and then walked right into it. Like walked into like the beam, like the actual plank of the wood. I walked straight into it. Full on momentum, hit my head, and I saw like I had a print. I had like a black and blue print on my face, and like I saw
so you
stars.
Just like opened the door on yourself as you walked
I opened the
into
door
it?
as I was walking in, and I like crashed at full momentum.
I've definitely done that before.
And I concussed myself, and I was woozy, and like everything was like everything was kind of funny and weird for a few weeks because I was a little funny in the head. And every once in a while, I still have problems. I still get like fuzzy.
Brain damage.
Yeah, I have brain damage. Great. Just scare the fuck out of him. You're in a flying car.
Yeah.
He's gonna be so scared of you guys. Neat use of the... So he wouldn't let him take the almanac, but he let him take a hoverboard.
That
technology
he stole from a child.
that won't exist. Well, the child got the Mad Dog or whatever, the other... but like... he was like, you cannot mess with the future, but you can take the hoverboard. That's fine. I mean, yeah, who cares? Whatever. It's just technology that doesn't exist. Originally, Marty McFly in the very first film was going to be wearing a T-shirt that had the schematics for a guitar on it, and like an electric guitar. He was going to be like kind of more of a metalhead, and he was going to have like this electric guitar schematic. And he was going to run into somebody who was going to be looking at his shirt and be like, that's a really neat shirt. And like, would invent the electric guitar based on like this shirt schematic. Originally, the idea was when and it kind of got carried over into this movie. Is the idea is when he gets back to 1985, it's like a completely different version of 1985 that would exist, where like all this technology has advanced forward because Marty went back to like 1955 and like basically jump started like a technological revolution by just having like, just random shit that like.
The crap he leaves there.
Yeah, and like and so that's kind of what I think the 2015 is like predicting weird shit. This is a good action scene. I always really like this action scene. It's really well staged. It's very Spielbergian in its sort of execution and design. Like here he flips he's like got the thing with the hoverboard. It looks really cool. I bet this was a nightmare to shoot with all the wire work on the hoverboard. This is so neat. This is kind of like really fucked up there. I like how Biff's trying to kill him right now. Biff is trying to kill him. Like, look at this. Biff is willing to like fuck up his car in order to kill Marty McFly. This man is not. I don't know what this man is. I cannot dissect this man's psychology.
He just really wants that sports almanac.
Scientists out there in internet land. If you have a DSM and you wanna pull up the battery of psychological issues, let's psychoanalyze Biff Tannen, because this guy, like, we don't really know much about. We know that him and his mom are like, she's screaming at him and he's kind of fighting, so we get maybe a sense that there's a little bit of an abusey, or maybe she's a little alcoholic, has an alcohol problem or something like that. Maybe that's going on. I don't know. But we don't get a whole lot of like why he is absolutely crazy. He's a great villain because he's like everything you're afraid of about a bully. Like he's everything that you are afraid a bully will be, like homicidal and like mean and rapey and like all kinds of like every possible negative characteristic a human being can have. I'm sure there's some crazy fan theories about like how Biff is like this like antichrist figure that like exists in the universe, and like just fucking with Biff's life just a little bit can turn Biff into the antichrist. And like, obviously the almanac is the MacGuffin that does it. But
it just, his motivations are a little bit unclear.
Yeah.
Like he's gonna just like run this guy over.
He's just gonna kill him. Like he's gonna fucking kill him. I know the 50s were a little more of a brutal time in terms of our bullies, but
what does he think about the hoverboard that he's riding around?
Yeah, he's not even like.
I mean, it was enough to make the girl like pass out, but he's just like totally unfazed by it. He's like, oh yeah, that's normal.
He gets shit on. That's good. Yeah, he's not like. Is he for like the next 30 years? Is he be like, I saw a flying car when I was like.
That's his motivation. Like he's so disturbed that like because he's seeing.
So he wants to kill it. He just hates it so much. Mm-hmm. He's just like, no, this is really fucked up. I'm just gonna run it over.
And that's the last we'll see of 1955 Biff Tannen. You will not see him again. I don't even know whether you see any of the Biffs after this. You might see 1985 Biff. I'm not sure. But Biff is... You see Buford Tannen now, and the Buford Mad Dog Tannen in Back to the Future Part 3. My least favorite kind of... He's fine, but he's not... He is not... Buford Tannen is actually more genuinely homicidal and a little more authentically villainous, and so I think he's not as dynamic and as comically goofy and ridiculous. Thomas Wilson in real life is actually apparently a very sweet guy. So it's like really funny that he plays this like terrible villain, this like horribly mean, nasty villain, and he's actually like a really nice guy. This was probably one of my when I was a kid. This is probably one of my favorite scenes in movie history. Not just this, but like when Doc Brown. You'll see what happens in just a moment for those who haven't seen the film.
Spoil it.
I didn't want to spoil it for you. The words are... He's dyslexic now. That's actually auto detailing. It still says George McFly murdered, and he's just like, oh shit. Biff didn't do it, even though he confessed to it.
That would be interesting. Like
fuck.
Biff is just always blamed for everything, and he actually has not done any of this.
Yeah.
That's why he snapped. He's just sick of being.
He's the scapegoat.
Well, and he is caught in this weird like time game with these people. Like he's kind of like Biff is again caught in like a weird time loop of some kind that you know, they just need to stop traveling back in time, so stop messing with this family. The Back to the Future video game that came out in the I think it was like 2011 2010, something like that, explores it. That's probably, if you want a sequel to Back to the Future 3 that doesn't really like muck with the timeline too bad, definitely check out Back to the Future the game, which was written by Bob Gale, who wrote the original trilogy. So if you're a fan, like, you know, it's just great. It's a great game. It's like 4 episodes by Telltale Games. Maybe we'll put a link in the description, Amazon link, if you want to pick it up. It's a really good game.
That's what the Back to the Future video game should have been. Just like them being chased by Libyans.
Yeah.
And trying to get up to 80, like getting fuel to try and get up to 88 miles an hour.
Yeah. We have a Play It Smash It, where we'll be playing the Back to the Future video game. I probably already mentioned it, but yeah, if you want to check that out, definitely do. There's a lot of fun stuff that we do with that. So that's going up on October 26th on Tuesday. It's a bonus episode. We're only going to do usually one episode of Play It Smash It a month, but that one was we felt obligated to shoot an extra one so you guys could check that out.
So we just left him there?
No, he didn't leave him there. He got struck by lightning and went back in time. Because in the first movie, that's the catalyst for traveling back in time, was that you get the 1.21 gigawatts. My laptop has more than 1.21 gigawatts processing power. Also, it was when no one knew how to say gigawatts yet, so we just said gigawatts. But this is brilliant. I love this. This guy shows up, and this was the motivation for writing a letter to myself. Was this scene? This is, as a kid, when I was probably like 9 years old when I saw this film, and I just remember thinking like, I wish this would happen to me, because this is incredible. This is the most incredible thing. Western Union. If this were 1950, if this were 2015, there'd be like paparazzi and TMZ and all shit around here, like waiting for this moment, because it would probably be like an internet meme, like, oh, the Western Union has a package that's supposed to be delivered on a certain day. The innocence of 1955. No one's really thinking anything of it. November 12th, 1955. Wait, is this November 12th? I'm confused as to what day it is.
This is an incredibly precise package delivery guy. Like, the people who deliver packages to my house, like, throw it on the porch and just walk away.
This is
can't
1955.
even be bothered to knock. Like, this guy, like, calculates down to the second. Like, how long he's had this package.
They've had 70 years to plan it out, so they've been thinking about it a while.
Oh, it's like getting ruined.
I know. Why would you open your letter in the rain? Like, stand under his umbrella.
Yeah. Get in the car with him. He'll let you in the car. He's very friendly.
Yeah, it's okay to get in the car with strangers in 1955.
Yeah. It's all right. So is that September 1, 1885? I'm confused about what day it is, because I thought it was October. Like, I thought the time thing said October, but maybe it was November. Who knows? October 21st is the day he traveled to the future, so that's why we did this commentary.
We're in the past. We're November 12th of 1955 or whatever. So this is the day that we're in the past.
This is confusing. My head's starting to hurt. This is awesome. You get to see this awesome finale. It's one of my favorite finales. It's so cool. It's great. It's great. It's a great shot. And like you don't get a whole lot with him like here afterward. Like you get a little bit of him just being like really excited about it, and then that's the last. Because I think Doc Brown, like 1985 Doc Brown, is such a different character than 1955 Doc Brown. I really like 1955 Doc Brown because he's a lot goofier than 1980. Like he's even goofier than 1985 Doc Brown, who's a little more like serious. He's particularly in the first movie. 1985 Doc Brown is very like guarded because he's stolen plutonium from Libyans. Yeah. Which again, I would love to see the game. I want to see an LJN Back to the Future game where he's just running away from Libyans the entire.
I want to see a TV show of Doc Brown and Kramer, and that's the whole show. It would be the most amazing like hour of television every week.
If I think if this movie wasn't directed by Robert Zemeckis and didn't feature these two actors, we'd be seeing like an MTV series, like a Back to the Future, and like the whole show would be all like melodrama about them being in school and stuff like that. Like you'd have to go to school and like be in school. It would be like a shitty show. Did anybody ever? I'd probably not. You guys, I never saw the animated series of this. There was an animated show. I love this thing. He passes out. Could you imagine? Like, can you imagine the emotion that's going on? Like he just is like, oh, cool, I did this awesome thing, and then bam, like. Here we go. This is the only movie I've known that like well Matrix Reloaded did this where it ends with a trailer. I remember when this happened. I closed my eyes as a kid. I was like, I don't want to see it. I don't want to know. It was a neat idea to do a back-to-back films like this. Very, very bold. Now it's like almost standard. You see like part 1 and part 2 kind of. I think they shot like the Pirates films back to back and the Matrix films back to back, Harry Potter films back to back, Hunger Games. There's so many now. It's like a precedent. Kill Bill, which was always intended to be kind of one movie, but feels like two. Though. Coming summer 1990. There we go. That was Back to the Future Part 2. What'd you think, Alex? Did you not like it?
I don't really like Back to the Future. It's just not my thing.
That like hurts, man.
Sorry, dude.
It's okay.
I'm not saying you're a bad person for liking it.
I don't care. It's just sort of like I don't understand. Like
it's just like ridiculous. I mean, like all the characters are there's no, if there's a gauge between like goodness and badness, and like the characters, every character has their own like the needles at some point on that continuum. Like all of these characters are all like
extremes
on like the needle is hitting the edge on like, the stops on every single one. Like the bad guy is just nothing but bad, and the good guy is just like nothing but good, and there is nothing in between.
Just kind of like single characteristic, kind of static.
Well, I think that's based on like the 50s films. Like a lot of 50s films had like the good guy was good, the bad guy was bad, and it was really obvious and clear. That's something like deeper into like the 80s and 90s and 2000s. Like you start to get shades of gray characters where this was really not that. This was just like, yeah, the bad guy is super bad, the good guy is super good, and there's really nothing in between. Video consultant Steve Irwin.
I saw.
Oh, rest in peace, Steve Irwin. Apparently he was video consultant. I'd like to imagine. He's like, oh, crikey! I'm going to help you on Back to the Future Part 2!
Was he really?
No. It's probably just a guy who happens to have the name.
I
love looking at credits for
Rod Rogers. Man, that's a name.
Well, the porn guy right there.
Rod Rogers. And I'm here to remix your audio or something.
Canum Creations.
Future Consultants.
That's cool. Future Consultants. So there were... Oh my god, that's awesome. It's all just like the director's like cousins and shit. Like, what do you think the future will be like? I don't know. It'll be like flying cars, like Pepsi's would be cool.
Really long sleeves.
Cafes and like hoverboards.
If you think in the 50s the sleeves were up here, and in the 80s the sleeves are here, the next step, they're
super long sleeves and a jagged the airs.
Robot arms.
Now I wonder, like, are the future consultants like embarrassed They look at it and they're just like, "Oh my god, I fucked up so
How do you
poorly."
become a future consultant? Like, what kind of classified ad do you answer? Like, shit, I could do this. Yeah, man, I don't know. There's gonna be a wax Ronald Reagan nostalgia thing.
They're all just psychic mediums.
Yeah.
I don't know yeah, how do you become a future consultant? I don't know, like, what makes you a
What do
future
you
consultant?
major in school to be a future consultant?
Yeah.
Like,
Maybe somebody who's like somebody who's history who can look at trends and like come up with, I don't know, like what.
like extrapolate the future extrapolator.
Yeah. Oh, Michael Jackson was not played by. I was pretty sure that would be Michael Jackson, but I guess not. Data.
Beatles.
Fujitsu. That's not an offensive name. Not at all. Yeah. Einstein was played by Freddy, who's probably not around anymore. George McFly in footage from Back to the Future, Crispin Glover. I wonder if they added that later or whether that was always that way. Mr. Sandman. Super creepy if you've ever seen the Halloween films. That song. A little bit of chills and whenever I see.
Geraldo Rivera.
Yeah, For a Fistful of Dollars. If you've never seen For a Fistful of Dollars, folks out there in internet land, check it out. It's a good movie. Clint Eastwood made some pretty badass westerns in his day. I was like not a western fan until like maybe in my 30s I started to become more of a western fan. I was like, oh, I kind of like westerns. They're interesting. Like, I'm not really like a John Wayne western kind of fan because I think they're a little, they're not as like maybe gritty, but Clint Eastwood really brings that grit to the.
My dad once made a coat for John Wayne.
Really? Like legitimately?
Yeah, my dad and my grandma used to own a coat making company in Akron.
Wow.
And they made mostly like police officer coats and like firefighter coats and stuff like that. But I don't know how. But somehow they made a coat for John Wayne. And like every now and again I'll see this picture like, hey, I made that coat. It's like John Wayne.
That's incredible. It's crazy. Well, an alarm's going off. If you heard that, folks. So that was Back to the Future Part 2. I still really love it. Did you like it?
I mean, I'm a little bit with Alex on this one. I mean, I can appreciate the things that you pointed out and, you know, the making of the movie and whatnot. I don't know if it's because I didn't see the first one. I kind of found it really chaotic. Like, most of the time, I had no idea what was going on.
Yeah, I mean, it's a movie that, like, you kind of have to love the first movie to understand the second one, maybe.
All over the place for me. Like, I kind of found it really hard to follow.
Yeah, well, no sound doesn't help either.
But I think the other thing is, like, I didn't see these as a kid. Like, I saw the first time I saw any of these movies.
I don't have any nostalgia for it.
Exactly.
I didn't grow up with it.
Yeah, I look at it now, like, because I can very unapologetically look at something I have nostalgia for and be like, yeah, that's a piece of shit. Like years later, I watch something and I'm like, I liked that. Like, I liked that for a while. And now I've come to accept that was kind of a bad movie. But like for me, I like this one is like more like, oh, this was like a really elaborate picture that just really, I think if you like the first one, I think this one makes complete sense and actually works really well. It doesn't really make sense in terms of time travel theory, but that's, I mean, no one really gets time travel theory right.
It seems
outside of maybe Time Crimes. Time Crimes is probably the most where like one little thing just fucks everything up, and then you just has to keep trying to fix it, and you can't fix it once you make the mistake because you create a loop.
Mm-hmm.
It seemed like a lot of the things that you were saying you really liked were like, you know, this is the first time a film did this, the first time they tried to do something like this.
Yeah.
It's like, you know, by the time I saw these movies, it's like, well, you know, a bunch of movies have done that, a bunch of films have done that. So like all of the really cutting edge, interesting things that like jump out to you were just like, okay, yeah, this is just goofy 80s, you know.
Well, even as like because I go back and I'll watch movies that like from the 50s and stuff that I've never seen, and I'll like walk away with like a profound respect for like what they did, and you know, like I always try to pull myself back and be like, okay, you have to remove all these things
the same way they would have.
Yeah,
you know
there's
in the time.
there's that baby's toy line, and I'm sure there's probably kids who would watch this, who grew up watching Transformers that would consider this movie a baby's toy, like in comparison to like the visual effects spectacle you can get nowadays for $200 million. But I mean, I love it. I love it more every time I see it. I think it's a really fun movie. I find the Western conclusion a little flat, just because I think it's not bad. I just don't like it as much as the other ones. Which is funny, because when that one came out, critics loved that one.
So is the whole movie set in this sort of Western theme?
The entire third film is in the West, which is, I think, the killer for it, is that you're in the Old West, and it's like a love story for Doc Brown, which is fine, but I think you kind of get the heart back, and like Doc Brown kind of becomes the father figure to Marty by the third one, because like you've had so many experiences with him. But yeah, the opening like act is in 1955, and then most of the film is 1885, and then they go back to 1985 by the end. But you're only in 1985 for like maybe 10 minutes at the end, and maybe 20 minutes of 1955 in the beginning. So most of the movie is 1885, which I like it, but it's not. It's my least favorite of the films. I think 1 and 2 are kind of, for me, on par. I think the best one is the first one, and I think my favorite one is the second one. But to each their own. You guys, your favorite movie was Jurassic World, right? You're talking to me about how much you love that movie. You actually right before we started recording this commentary, Alex was like, "I saw that movie like a few weeks ago, and I can't remember any of it."
I remember it like a preview or something came on. I was like, "Whoa, what is this?" And I'm like, "Oh, it's a movie I saw like 3 weeks ago."
Yeah. But no, it's fine. So that is our commentary for Back to the Future Part 2. Be sure to come back on October 26th. We're going to be doing a special Play It, Smash It for the LJN Back to the Future video game. We're going to be playing that, and it's one of the most stressful experiences of our entire life.
You don't play it, you endure it.
Yeah. And we're going to smash it in a wonderfully glorious way. So be sure to come back for that. If you like this and you want more, be sure to subscribe to Permanently Geek. We do 4 videos a week. We're going to hope to continue that for several, we're hoping to continue it as long as we can. We're going to try to give you guys as much entertainment as we can. So be sure to stop back. We're producing hours of content a week. I am your host of Commentary Time. My name is Randy. You can find me on Twitter at RL Schaefer Writes. You can also find me permanentlygeek.com and rlschaefer.com. And Shauna?
I'm Shauna. You can find me on Twitter or Instagram at ShaunaBean.
Alex?
And you'll never find me unless you look on Twitter. SimulAlex.
And if you want to follow Permanently Geek on Twitter, that's just Permanently Geek. Look us up. We'll put all those links either in the video or in the descriptions. We'll put them somewhere. If you want to find them. Or don't, whatever. But we will see you next week. We're gonna have a whole slew of new stuff. So be sure to check back, and we will see you then. Take care.